Hi, this is Erica Merrill, and I'm the founder of Perfect Legal Video. I'm very excited to have with us today Attorney Nicole Reeves Lavallee. Nicole owns a family and real estate law firm in the Worcester area, and we are so fortunate to have her with us every week, telling us about things that are going to save us tens of thousands of dollars in the future and answering questions that are common and could really cost you a lot of money in the future as well. So let's talk about today's topic. We're going to be talking about discovery and how that can help your case. I want to thank you so much for joining us today, Nicole.
Thanks for having me. This is one of those topics that every single client goes, "What? Why?" And so I'm hoping to at least make you understand why I'm asking for what I'm asking for.
Well, let's talk about a simple definition first. Everyone's heard the topic name, discovery. You see it on TV all the time. It usually has to do with a court case or, sometimes it's evidence that they found in a crime, whatever it is. Let's talk about what discovery is when you are referring to a breakup.
Well, discovery is going to be anything. So it's going to be anything in any case, not necessarily a breakup, but anywhere. Specifically, we're going to ask for documentation. So documentation is obviously going to be specific to your case. So if it's a breakup, maybe we need to look at your tax returns or your bank statements. Obviously, if it's a divorce, we're going to get a little bit more in depth with it. If it's, a car issue, obviously we're going to look at car documents. So whatever it is, there's lots of different documents, lots of different formats. Sometimes it's just pictures, sometimes it's text messages, sometimes it's screenshots, whatever that looks like. And then we can also ask for interrogatories, which are going to be written questions that we're going to ask of the other party, and they're going to give us a written response under oath. We can also depose somebody, which is going to be asking them in an office, most likely, with a stenographer present, and asking them specific questions. We may also ask them for admission. So tell me, is the sky blue? And it's a yes or no. So we can ask questions of that nature as well. So there's a lot of different types of discovery out there that we're going to get. They're going to be specific to your case. They're going to be specific to what we need so that we can move your case forward.
Well, the sky's not blue today, Nicole.
Definitely
It's so cold out there. Let's see. So, yeah, I know some people are going to be watching this in the future, but there's like not blizzard. What do they call today? It's like a ground cold front blizzard.
Some zero temperature. That's all I know.
It's really cold, like below zero wind chills. It's insane. We're like Alaska right now. And none of us are used to this. All right, so let's talk about, why do you need to gather the records? I know you talked about a few different types of records. I mean, can you just say, because nobody wants to share this information. I mean, nobody wants to open up their personal bank account statements and taxes and show people like even mistakes that they might be making, or how many times you go to Burger King last week. I mean, I don't know what it is, but nobody wants to share that. So do you really have to do it?
You have to do it in any litigation. Anytime there is a lawsuit, you're going to need to divulge some of this information. And you're going to say, one, it's over tedious. I don't have time for it. I know it's not important. Why do they need to know that? Because they do. That's what attorneys are for. And attorneys are going to say, this is a proper objection. You're not entitled to this, but you're entitled to that. So they're going to kind of walk you through the items. I get it. Nobody wants to do these questions. Nobody wants to get this stuff. You have a lot of work to do. You have other things that are more important. Well, guess what? This is important too. This is just as important, if not more important, than what's going on in your day-to-day life. It's really important so that we can get you on that right track and get you the results that you're looking for. And if you want to drag your feet, then there could be consequences in terms of attorney's fees or other things. Or the judge can just decide they don't like you because you're not following the rules. So you really want to get them done. One, because it's important to your case. Two, it's actually going to help me to present your case to the other side, so that I can get you the best results. So certainly, even though you don't like to do it, it's well worth it.
So is what's good for me good for them? If I am requested to provide certain documents, do they have to provide the same documents?
They may have to provide the same documents, but they may have to provide different documents. So it kind of depends on the case and what we're looking for. But a lot of it is going to be very similar in nature. And there are going to be things that are going to be different specifically for you and whatever's happening in your case.
What if there's some joint documents and you're do you have to provide joint documents since you both have them anyway?
So the simple answer is somebody's going to have to produce the documents. Everyone wants to go, well, they're the same as his. It's a joint tax return. Well, that's great. But if I, as the attorney, don't have it, then I don't have what I need for your side, and I don't have what I need from their side. So it's really not helpful if you don't exchange this stuff. So sometimes it's just a matter of the attorneys need to get it. And yes, if they produced it, then no, you don't have to produce it back. But somebody has to produce it first for the attorneys.
So I know that people hire other people that are experts at looking, excuse me, 3, 2, 1. I know that it may not be everyone's top skill looking at financial records and looking at documents. I mean, that is why you have an attorney to help you out with that. But I mean, just letting us know, like, what are some of the things that they look for?
I think that's exactly it. You're not going to necessarily know what to look for, but we are. You're going to tell me your story and you're going to say, hey, look, my ex goes out to the grocery store every day and he spends $50. Your ex might say that he goes out to the grocery store every week and he's buying lottery tickets or he's buying cigarettes, and look at it every single day. You can look, he goes to the liquor store. These are things that we're going to be able to see. These are things that we're going to be able to touch. They go out and buy lottery tickets, whatever their fetish is, if you will. We're going to be able to see that information. So that's the first thing. Obviously, the other things I'm going to be looking for is, where is this large withdrawal from? Wait a minute, it didn't go from this account. Wait, I don't have that account. What is that account? Or a PayPal account that we didn't know anything about. Those are the things that we're looking for. From my perspective, I'm going to tell you, look at these. And you're going to go, okay, great. What am I looking for, Nicole? Well, you're looking for things that I might not know about, like, hey, there's a check in there made out to his sister for $10,000. I don't know anything about that. I'm not going to know it's his sister. I might see that's $10,000, but maybe it's $3,000 and it doesn't seem odd to me. You're going to be the one to tell me, go, no, that's not right. So you're going to look at it for a different kind of eyeball version than I am. But certainly that's why we put our two heads together to come up with, this is what we're looking for and this is where we need to go from here. Because a lot of times it's just the starting point. I've got some information. Now I need to gather more information, more documentation.
So why is discovery so important? I mean, in your experience, do you find that there's a lot of things that are uncovered that people just didn't know about? I mean, they say that you never find out more about your spouse than when you're going through a divorce. I mean, how true is that statement?
It's absolutely true. It's one of those things that you really don't see or you don't know anything. It's because, either you don't have a joint bank account or maybe if you do. But, my ex handled all the finances. He told me that these bills were paid. Now I'm looking at it and he hasn't paid this bill in a year. Why not? Well, unfortunately, those things happen too. So whether you're the person that wrote the finances or you had separate books, they're not telling you the full story. They're not telling you the full story because they know it's going to start a war. They know you're going to argue with them. You disagree with them, whatever the case may be. Sometimes it's just pure laziness. Sometimes it's, I actually forgot. But you are going to find out a lot of things that you didn't know about your ex. And that's the reason why that discovery is so important, because again, maybe it's something just simple in a bank statement, but maybe other times it's something different, such as, again, I went on the Facebook and I noticed that there's all these extra websites that he's been visiting or posting on that I didn't know about. So it's a lot of gathering for different reasons.
Once you have all this information, what do you do with it? I mean, it's hard enough when you're not in the middle of a divorce or going through family court. to know what you do with information that you find out about somebody. But now you have a chance to, put it out there in the spotlight. But like, how do you do it? And how do you know which things you should highlight?
Again, that's going to be a discussion that you're going to have with your attorney. We're going to figure out what we have and how we can leverage it. So again, we're going to look at it and go, well, we realize that they spent $5,000 on this, but they also know that we spend things on that. So maybe we just hold that back. We don't touch it. And then the moment they bring it up, then we go, well, yeah, but what about your Lowe's card where you did this, this, and this? Okay, now it makes sense. So sometimes we're going to do that. Sometimes it's going to be, hey, look, we knew that you were an alcoholic, but we just didn't know how much until we realized that you're literally going to the liquor store and buying alcohol every single day. And you're making purchases of $50 and $60 multiple times. Well, that's a big jump. I thought you had it under control, or I thought your sobriety, you were sober. Like, what's going on here? So those are things that we're going to be able to show to the judge to go, no, maybe they shouldn't have parenting time alone. So it really kind of depends on what we're able to discover and how we can use it, whether we use it and give it to the court for their information, or we use it for negotiations, or maybe sometimes it's just, hey, we found Venmo and we found Zelle and we found PayPal, and I don't even know what these are. And then we have to go to those sites and get more documents from those sites to figure out where that money actually went.
I mean, it's interesting that you bring that up, because what if you do find out that they're spending money on things that they put under as groceries or food, but really they're living an incredibly lavish lifestyle where maybe they and their new partner, they're out there spending hundreds of dollars on dinner several times a week and drinks and whatever else, and they're just either writing it off or putting it in as their grocery bill, and it's literally food coming out of your kid's mouth because they want to lower the child support.
It's one of those things that it really involves that deep dive. It really involves, where is that money? Do we have something that is a grocery card receipt? Do we have the frequent flyer cards, or whatever they're called nowadays, but those little cards that we all swipe till we can get our points? Guess what? Somebody's taking a log of it. So even if you don't have the receipts, there's a log. There's a way that I can subpoena that information. So it's really about gathering that information to figure out where it is. Obviously, if it's going to restaurants, it's a little bit easier to define versus going to a grocery store. But how do we use that information really depends on how frequent it is and how much it is, and more importantly, how we can prove it. Because sometimes, again, going to the grocery store and spending $200 every week, it doesn't mean that we're doing something bad. Maybe we're just a really bad shopper. Maybe we like to buy junk food. Maybe we like to buy in bulk. So there could be harmless explanations for it, but more likely there's something else going nefarious about it, and we really have to figure out why and how we can use that.
How do you deal with cash? What if you notice that there's a lot of cash withdrawals coming out of their account, and if you're even lucky enough to see the cash coming out of the account, sometimes it never hits the account because maybe they're getting paid in bank checks or cashier's checks or whatnot. Do they go through and try to figure out what they're making from their schedule, or like, how does it work?
That's a great question. It's one of those things that you really kind of need to know what the business is. Let's just say a lot of landscapers are cash vendors. That's what they do. So it really depends on what type of business it is and whether or not they can get away with it. It also depends on, again, we don't see the money coming in. Okay, maybe we have to hire a PI to go out and watch them. Maybe we need to go to the homeowners in the scenario of a landscaper, we need to go and say, well, how much are you paying them? Why do you need to know? Well, I'm going to subpoena you in to testify. Oh, well, then I'm paying $25 a week, whatever it is. They're going to be more happy to give you the information to make you go away. So certain things we can gather by third party, the vendors that are the people that are actually paying them. Sometimes it's a little bit difficult. Sometimes, it's just a matter of looking at ATM withdrawal, well, holy crap, what are you doing? And I have that right now where a lot of people are spending the money and they're taking out $500, $600 withdrawals every week. And it's like, wait a minute, that's income. So it's got to be coming from somewhere. So it's really hard sometimes. And a lot of times what that boils down to is we'll need to depose them, but we might either have to do, again, a personal PI or somebody else to kind of know what's going on. Or sometimes it's a forensic investigator to look at the books and go, the numbers don't match up.
So it sounds like you're really having an attorney that's going to help you figure out how to use resources to get the information that sometimes people try to hide. I mean, in some cases, people aren't hiding anything. I mean, the numbers are the numbers, and you can see that. But in a lot of cases, when someone owns their own business, or like you said, there's a cash business going on. I know, for example, I've got a contractor working for me right now, and he absolutely does not want a personal check. He only wants cash or bank checks. And he did mention that he had a kid, and he takes everything that way if he can. And it wasn't until I heard that he had a kid that I realized that he's probably hiding all that money, not only from the government but from his ex.
Or more importantly, he's hiding it from DOR, who's trying to levy on his account because he hasn't paid his child's. So those are the issues that really comes up. Anytime somebody says, I need to have it in a bank check or, money order or cash, I'm going to shy away from them because they're doing something shady. They're doing something that is not within the bounds of the law, and I'm not going to participate in that. But really, I mean, again, why are you doing it? And you got to give me a legitimate reason, because chances are it's because you're hiding from somebody.
I mean, those are all good points. And I appreciate your bringing this up because it's definitely shady. And if you never thought about it, maybe you don't do this sort of thing. You probably wouldn't even think about this, but you see it every day, and I'm sure you have to handle these issues, which is why I always say in these interviews, absolutely, if you are in Massachusetts, even better the Worcester area, definitely give Nicole and her team a call, because they're fantastic with strategies to help you out in family court. And, you really can't go wrong. They, incredibly intelligent, and they work to find the best outcome for you and your family. So, everyone appreciates you that worked with you, Nicole. So thank you so much for all this information as well.
Thank you.
So, are there any parting bits of information that kind of came up during this interview? I know we had, we've talked about a lot, and sometimes there's like something that comes up, but we're in the middle of talking about a different topic. Any last bits of advice or information for our audience?
I think the biggest thing is, again, go in with the expectation that there's not going to be anything, but realistically keep your eye out. Again, I don't know who your family members are. I don't know. I can't really read 9 times out of 10 what that memo says and says, I don't know, it's a scribble. What does it mean? Sometimes it's HB. Okay, and maybe happy birthday. Sometimes it's, again, I'm trying to, and so again, you're going to know, hopefully your spouse or your ex's handwriting a little bit better than mine. Hopefully you can understand what it's going to say. But those are the things that I'm going to have you to defer to. I'm going to have you to defer to, who family members are, who friends are, who's, might hide money, who might do those things. But go in and take a look at everything, because you're going to look at it again with different eyes than I am. I'm looking at the paper trail. It goes from 75,000 to, wait a minute, I'm missing a statement here. I just lost $50,000 because I don't have the statement. Those are things I'm going to look for. Those are the things that I'm going to go, wait a minute, 25,000 out here, 35,000 out here, 25 here, and I'm going to start calculating it. But you're going to see that too. But you're going to be focusing on, oh my God, that's his Uncle Sal. And his Uncle Sal will do anything for him. I'm not going to have any idea. So it's really about, again, using your resources and really taking the time to look at the documents. I'm not giving you more busy work to look at their documents. I'm giving it to you because I don't know your family. I don't know your dynamic. You live this life and you're the one that's going to be able to know what seems to not make sense to you.
And that all makes a lot more sense. So we really appreciate your coming on today. Thank you so much. I mean, I think that the last word here is, if your attorney gives you homework, you got to do it. So, get it done and, let them know. So I want to thank you so much again. And I hope everyone has a great weekend. Thank you for watching. And we really appreciate you, Nicole.